Of the order, February the 12th, Town of Sylva Board of Commissioners meeting. Welcome everyone. First thing on our agenda is to approve the agenda. I've been trying to motion we do that. Have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, side. Opposed, like side, motion carries. So I'm trying to motion that we approve the consent agenda. Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, side. All opposed by like sign, motion carries. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? No. Moving on to reports. One thing I want to report on is something that's been slipping my mind for quite some time. This is something Jake and I talked about well over a year ago. I think Jake will be more comfortable with full board approval to do this. So there's been a request to me from a couple of different homeowners up on Kings Mountain. You know, there's a switchback curve right below the old Ronnie Children's house. And there's a hole off the kudzu patch. It's about 300 and some foot to the bottom of it. And those residents would like to see just a short piece of guardrail put up right there for safety. And Jake talked like he would feel better about his people up there with snowplows as well. So I'd like to get a consensus of the board to add that to the agenda of our next meeting for discussion on. Everybody feel good about that?
Sure. So
that's all I have. Moving on, Sam.
yeah, thank you. Am I close enough to the microphone this time? Okay. Hopefully I'm not yelling at everybody tuning in on YouTube. But yeah, I just want to thank first of all Jake Scott and all the amazing guys at Public Works for how hard they worked during the snowstorm last week. I think Daisy and Ezra were a little upset with Jake and his boys and how well they did. They want a few more days off of school, but it was a beautiful snow and it was very nice having the roads clear and everybody being safe. Also, just want to thank the healthcare workers, first responders as well, being there not only for us but our kinfolk. And I don't need to remind anybody up here, but it's Valentine's Day coming up. Everybody up here is ready. But I just want to remind folks how, as you're celebrating with your friends and your family, to remember the wonderful local businesses, not only in town, but around Jackson County, to support our local businesses. That's all I've got.
Brett.
Well, I was also going to thank Public Works for the job they did during the snow. Sam did a better job than I would have, so that was about all I was going to share today. Thank you.
This past Sunday, I went to Canton teaching data center conversation about the data centers. And although, you know, we're a small town, limited on land, and may not be a concern, but some of the things that it brought up was just the water that's consumed by these data centers and the kind of the myth of job creation and the infrastructure strain and the noise that they create. So I know that there's about 100 across the state of North Carolina. Most of those concentrated in Charlotte, but just in light of the decision last night for Canton, you know, they kind of took a proactive approach to it and did a moratorium, you know, for all data centers. And so just, I think it would be wise for us to, you know, be proactive in our land ordinances.
That's it. That came up to when I was on the planning board. That came up as a topic. I don't know that it ever went anywhere, but it was on their radar. So just wanted to, it's not completely new, but I don't know what came of it.
Okay.
Please.
Good evening, everybody. Wanted to mention just a couple of restaurants in Dillsboro. We have Beach Mountain now. It's open. Great food, and they're few times, and it's been really good. And then across the street at the Jarrett House, our company's been doing electrical work there for several months. If everything goes smooth there, they're hoping to open the main part of that building up mid to late April. With the restaurant and the hotel. So they plan on having venues there, weddings and that kind of thing. So it's gonna be a big to-do. Know that the owner, Chris Ellsworth, is just tickled to death. It's kind of together now with that building. So that's it.
So I also want to extend thanks to Public Works, this awesome, wonderful snow that we had last week. They were really on top of it. I stayed up like a little kid and just continued to watch it snow throughout the night. And I'm pretty sure they went by probably about 12:30. It wasn't even much snow yet. They were already scraping. They went by again right as I was going to bed, probably about 2:30 or 3. So they were really on top of it. But I want to say with how this sudden return of weather is now it's gotten warm. Everybody be mindful that it's out of the clear from that this will, more weather is coming, and to be better prepared in the future and go ahead and have the resources that you need, whether it's propane or kerosene or ready to eat foods, stuff to help keep you off the roads to getting out and getting those last minute supplies. Because I know there was a lot of people that I saw out first thing the next morning because I was out very early and the roads were not doing great, but a lot of people just kept pushing the bounds. And what that causes is our fire and our police teams to get out there, and they're the ones who got to pull you out. So it's not just one person on the road. If you end up in a ditch, you end up putting several other people out there and at risk. So, be ready. We're not all the way out of this yet. We all look forward to another good snow, and I'm sure another one's going to come. So just staying prepared and stay vigilant for what's going to be coming in the future. And yeah, let's hope we get another good foot of snow at some point this year.
There you go. All right, well, thank you, everybody. That moves us on to the manager report.
Good evening. I attended great sessions of the North Carolina City and County Management Association conference in Winston-Salem 2 weeks ago. Thank you for the opportunity to attend. The best ones were on AI and what it is doing in local government and how to use it and when to be careful with it. And also collaboration with other partners and entities. So thank you. And I also want to thank Public Works for how hard they worked around the clock clearing the snow. TWASA's annual meeting is March the 3rd. There's a social at 4 and the actual meeting and presentation is at 4:30. So it's an overview of what they do and all their ongoing projects. Most of those projects impact city limits or will start in city limits soon. So it's a great opportunity to learn about our water and sewer system. And if you'll let me know for both the TWASA meeting and the county meeting, I'll RSVP for the group. But next one, Jackson County is holding a joint meeting with the municipalities in the county. That's the first time in a couple of years, I think we've held one. So that's March 10th at 6 p.m. at the Borough Building. So please RSVP to me. I'll handle everybody if you haven't done so already. And our police chief applications are due February the 20th, and our audit proposals are due tomorrow. So we'll have updates on those soon. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Hey, can you shed any light on the county meeting? I don't think I'm.
Yes, so Borough Building, 6 o'clock, the 10th, it's going to be an update of the fire and EMS tax, public safety tax.
That's what the joint meeting is about?
Yes.
Okay.
I have attended the TWASA meeting 2 different years, and it's very informative, and I think every board member ought to attend one of those. Daniel Mannering's doing a fine job with TWASA. He's made a lot of changes since he's been there, and I think things are a lot better than they used to. Anyway, that moves us on to new business. And the first item, we're going to break into 2 parts. So I did have a motion that we approve the purchase of the fire department's bumper truck.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Now, we have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. Now, I'd also entertain a motion that we approve the resolution for financing the truck. I'm assuming this is a portion of the purchase price. I did entertain a motion to approve that. We have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. Special event request. Bringing up the mountains, beverage arch. I'll make a motion for that. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Number 7 is a special event request for concerts on the creek for alcohol services. Need a motion and vote to that. Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. All opposed, the like sign, vote carried. And, we have a presentation of the Jackson County Public Library Complex. Antoinette.
What?
What? Okay, well, we welcome you.
So first, thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Absolutely.
And who I actually represented, the Friends of the Library here in Jackson County and the Jackson County Public Library Allies. Friends of the Library have been around 50 years, the Allies coming up on a year. And we were Friends of the Library are just exactly what they say they are. They're the Friends of the Library, and the Allies are committed to supporting our library and library staff. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I do not live in Sylva, but that's my misfortune because I have volunteered at the Friends of the Library Used Bookstore for over 23 years, and it has a great attic. And I so wish that the fire department had let us put a loft up there. So when other volunteers go up there and they say, wouldn't this make, I say, no, it's mine. You can't live here. But it's not allowed. And my next move, I won't say will be underground, but it won't be anywhere that I have to take my furniture with me at least. So, but I got here, I built a cabin here in 95 because I lost my son to Western Carolina. I knew he was never coming back. And if I wanted to get to see him, he'd be out in the woods hiking and I'd be in Charlotte. So when I retired in 2003, I moved here permanently. The first thing I did was join the Friends of the Library and start volunteering at the used bookstore. So while I don't live in Sylva, I spend a great deal of my time in Sylva. And I care. My main concern is the library, but I love that it's Valentine's, and I love that I think Brad said and Mr. McGuire said about loving our local businesses. I did as much of my Christmas shopping as possible up and down Main Street and back Main. I do that every year. So I'm fully committed to the town, even though my body might live down in Savannah. Out Savannah Creek. I don't live in Savannah, Georgia. So what I'm going to do now and what we're asking is back maybe a year and a half ago, Commissioner Smith and Chairman Letson made a comment about the lease between Jackson County and the library complex. I don't know exactly what that means. There have been all kinds of rumors, and I won't share those because that's all they are rumors. But what the fear, what it raised in me, my antennas went up, is that when we raised money for that, and some of you probably were here during fundraising 07, 08, 09, we raised every single person that gave a dime, every entity that gave money, gave it for a complex, not for a library and a renovated courthouse. And the fear among those of us who were here and working at that time to make it happen is that there would be some sort of severance, that the renovated courthouse and the library would become some sort of separate entities, which is not what every penny went to build. So what I'm going to do is a very brief history, and I'll keep it short if I can. And then at the end, I'll ask you for a favor, or if you'll do something if you feel that you can, to help with the effort to keep our complex. So we know the complex, that the library and the courthouse are owned by Jackson County. And we know that Sylva is part of Jackson County, but it sits in Sylva. So I think it's just as important to the town of Sylva as it is to the county. In 88, the historic courthouse was condemned. It was later than that my son and his wife got married in it, so I'm not sure how that happened, but at any rate, it took all the way to 04 for anybody to say, we got to do something about this, and we need a new library. So 19 years elapsed between when the courthouse was condemned and when renovation and library construction began to be investigated. In 04, a joint committee of Sylva and Jackson County was formed to evaluate potential sites. In 07, the commissioners hired an architectural firm to look at the courthouse to see if it would make a good library site. Initially, there were other sites that were considered. One was, do you remember where the steakhouse was, the Western Sizzlin'? That was one site. I have to tell you, I liked that site because there was a lot of parking up there and it was easy to get to off the highway. Also, Southwestern said, well, we've got $4 million we can put into this. Come build it by us. And when the area was surveyed, people were talked about, everybody said, no, we need it in Sylva. It needs to be here. So that's how that all started. So Jackson County could have saved approximately $4 million had they wanted to. Fortunately, they didn't. So they hired this firm called Doublerly Garcia and Associates to do a big assessment. And they came up with 4 priorities. The ones in blue, I think, are the most important to point out to you. The people who live here wanted a place to have physically be present and a place to have virtual activities just like this. And they wanted a place that would stimulate reading, viewing, and listening. This was what they were looking for in a new library. So when Doublerly and Garcia did their needs assessment, they said, we need a large community room, conference rooms, study and tutor rooms. We needed a place with increased internet wireless access. And I really think I'm preaching to the audience, you know this, but here it is again. And that we needed exhibit gallery and performance space. Unless I'm mistaken, there's nowhere for the public to have a large community room where you can get all that extra space for internet access and where you can have exhibits and galleries for the public. There are places you can rent within the town of Sylva, but the community room and the renovation of the courthouse is the only place that Sylva has to accomplish these things for the public. If you want to ask if you can use a special room at the Methodist Church, I think they're more than accommodating and they would do that, but it's not the same as a public space. So out of this Doublerly report, this is what they wanted in a library. Wanted it to accommodate the community room to accommodate at least 125 people, have a large projections and sound system, provide storage rooms and a kitchenette. Those were recommendations for a library. That's what libraries throughout the United States have today. Not like when I was growing up, we barely had cars, but you certainly didn't have a kitchen and you didn't have a projection room. You had books and you had a librarian like me, because that's what I used to do, stamping your card for you when you checked it out. But today, these are the things that are required to have a library, to have a good community. But when they renovated the courthouse, that's where they put those things. They didn't put it in the new build over there in the library. They put it in the courthouse renovation. The commissioners voted to restore the courthouse. That was a big mandate from the county commissioners at the time, restore our courthouse. So the courthouse would become an integral part of the community again and as an anchor for the much needed new library. I don't know if you all know Joyce Moore, but she, of course, was at City Lights forever and ever and ever. And I think this is a quote from 2007 that she made about how this new library and renovated courthouse would preserve landmarks, create a library that's uniquely ours, celebrate our history, and look to the future, and would inspire people for generations. Hence, the motto, what we chose for this whole fundraising effort was to honor the past and embrace the future. We feel like the library embraces the future and the renovated courthouse embraces what over the years I've been here, I've come to learn is a very rich history of these mountains. But you might be interested in what you gave as the town of Sylva. In blue, of course, the Jackson County taxpayers funded a big part of it. But our little Jackson County Friends of the Library, of which there were 184 members and approximately 25 volunteers, we raised $1,800,000. I was running the bookstore a good bit of that time, so I'm not responsible, but for, the decimal point after that, but I'm very proud of what we did. However, the town of Sylva provided $5,000. And I'm gonna pass this around, and I have some handout. You go in and you look at the children's area. The children's area was given by the town of Sylva. You have a big stake in our library and of course in the courthouse. So this complex, of which the courthouse has the place where we can have our community room. In 2025, the rooms that could be booked in the library and the courthouse, 650 times they were booked. That's a lot of folks going in and out of our library and courthouse. And that's just some example of the, over the years, different organizations that have used it. And I read through about 100 pages of lists of people who've used it. I'm not going to think of anyway, people have gotten married there that because I can't remember this name. You're going to be using the community room on April 30th. So if they decided someone else was going to have the lease for the old courthouse or for the new courthouse, the renovated courthouse, you'd be looking for someplace else, perhaps. We don't really know what they have in mind, but the importance of that is you have access to it because it's part of this library complex. So this is what I'm asking you tonight, that you in some way let the county commissioners know that it's important to this town that the lease between the county and the Jackson County Public Library Complex be renewed. That the library and the renovated courthouse are one unit. They're not two things that need to be separated. That's what our community wanted back in 2007. Everybody who gave money wanted that. And it's what we deserve in the future. And using our slogan, thank you for embracing the future, and by having the vision for times to come when our complex will be host to all the weddings, recitals, meetings, performances, and celebrations that are yet to be. So thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm going to leave you with a copy of the PowerPoint, my notes at the end that I didn't read, but I think I said them. And if you haven't seen this, you could pass that around. May I come and give you each one? Didn't go to sleep. Thank you. Thanks for staying awake.
Oh, yeah.
Like one.
We get his.
Would you like one too, or is it? I've got two, I printed them.
Okay.
So are you available for questions?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. And you can ask me questions now. On that yellow sheet towards the back, I put my name, my email, and my phone number. I'm happy. And if I can't answer it, let me say I'll
I
find some.
understood you to say during your presentation that if they did do something to divide the library from the whole courthouse, the bathrooms are in the whole courthouse and there's no bathrooms in the library.
There are bathrooms on the first and second floor in the libraries,
Inside.
inside the libraries. You
Okay.
might not know where they are. That, you know, the atrium when you come in, that you can go left and right, the State Employees Credit Union Foundation gave $250,000 and they wanted that to be named after them. So that's a local, you know, we have the, it's a state foundation and,
Yeah.
they gave that. Any other questions? If I don't know the answer, I'll find the right person for you.
So what are you hoping to achieve from the town? Like a resolution?
Whatever suits you. I mean, perhaps you know the commissioners and you can talk to them or send them, you know, each an email, whatever you think would be the best way to say, we want these two things to stay together. We want the lease to include, when the county gives it, to include both the library and the renovated courthouse, and it's a complex. We want it to stay as a complex. And I said, I was a children's librarian, so when it comes to what a government ought to do, I can tell you what I ought to do with an 8-year-old, but I have no idea what the government entity should do. But whatever you think would be the best way to impress them that this is important to you.
Well, I'd say each one of us at least know one commissioner in some way, shape, or form. I'll be glad to speak to the one that I consider to be a friend. Y'all want to think about it and see if you want to bring this back up at our next meeting, see if you wanted to take some kind of permanent action, or if you want just everybody to do what they can on their very own. But I do agree with her. I think we should, the purpose of which it always been for is it should stay that way.
Thank you.
Has there been substantive conversation about not renewing the lease? I mean, I've heard that flying around myself.
Yes, I have, in the very first handout, I think, I have an explanation, that a letter that we sent to many donors, significant donors, about what was going on. Spoke with Kevin King, and he said there had not been a lot of discussion. However, I have a copy of an email between Commissioner Smith and somebody in Macon County where Commissioner Smith says he's not happy with the lease. What that means, I don't know, but he's not happy. And then Chairman Letson at a county commission meeting made the statement, when all the talk about FRL and all was going on, well, we can address that with the lease. So I can't tell you what that means, but I can tell you, I went, oh, what are they talking about? So I don't know, but yes. And I spoke with one of the rumors involved someone wanting the courthouse to be under the auspices of the Historical Society. That person vehemently denied it. So I know that rumor was false. And that's why I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
A rumor is a rumor is a rumor.
Yeah.
Now, whether they talk, you know, privately to each other, I have no way of knowing.
So, we will. I'll think about it for the next couple of weeks, and I just advise every board member, if any of you think it's an item you'd like to see on the agenda for further discussion at our next meeting, I need to let Paige know, raised before the meeting or something. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
If it stays like it is, we'll certainly speak to the commissioners personally.
Thank you.
I'd be glad to support keeping things at the status quo. There was a whole purpose in the different people that gave money for what they did to be a permanent thing, you know,
Exactly.
and the town was
At,
involved in that as well, so.
you know, I want my $100 back. I thank you. And I didn't say it because you know that historic courthouse represents, it's the picture postcard of this town. And it's very important to the town. And and to those of us who love living here.
Thank you very much
No,
for your
thank you.
time and your dedication.
Thank you.
And whether you live in the city limits of Sylva or not, everybody in Jackson County considers Sylva to be their hometown, and you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you. And I never say to my family, come visit me in Jackson County. I say come to Sylva. So thank you.
All right. So if there's nothing else to discuss, I think it's Brad Waldrop's turn.
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Say aye. All opposed by like sign. Stand adjourned.